So my name is Rob Schoeppe. I'm the Chief Commercial Officer at AccelByte. Been in the games industry for 20 plus years, have seen the ebb and flow, and super excited to see everyone in the room here today. And thank you all for joining us for the evening. And I hope we're going to go through some really good informational topics. You can learn a lot, meet a bunch of people, network, have some great conversations, and have some great drinks. So as I said, I'm with AccelByte. I've been doing this for a while, and one of the key passions of the industry for me has always been the future innovation and how far that we can take the games industry and how technology is going to continue to help enable the future of what we want to do. And one of the key elements of that has always been the use of AI in games, and AI specifically related to community health. And so community health in games is a very personal topic to me. One, I'm a gamer, and I want to make sure that I'm playing a game that I have the great experience in, and I want to have enjoy an experience that all my family can play as well. And so I've been in experiences where my wife's playing a game and she gets some kind of hate speech or some type of a negative reaction, which causes people to churn out of games. And so as we continue to build the community, invest in the community, we want to make sure that we're focused on building the right tools that are going to help all the developers in the community to make the best games and help support the best community to help support all those players out there and give them the best experience possible. And so AccelByte, I hope you all know what we do, but if you don't, AccelByte is a games backend engine. So we provide all of the infrastructure, the managed infrastructure to help you build, launch, and operate live service games. And as we focus on that, we really want to make sure that we're focused on our core competency, which is really the backend scaling infrastructure. So you don't have to worry about any of that stuff as you really focus on the creative elements of making your game. And so what that also means is there's a lot of technology out there that is available to you. And that comes in the form of multiple AI solutions or other technology solutions that you want to bring to your game. And so we said, well, we're going to focus on what we know best. We're not going to go invent everything for everyone. We're going to partner with the best people in the industry to make that happen. And the way that we do that is that we have introduced a solution as part of AccelByte called Extend. And Extend essentially allows and helps customers to bring their own code into our service, and then they can overwrite some of the logic that we have within our game. And through Extend, you can say, okay, well, I like AccelByte, but I've already made my own matchmaking, or I want to integrate this partner very seamlessly. And so we help where you can write your own code, and then through a microservice, we would then ingest that and inject it into the AccelByte service, and then we would host your code for you, so you don't have to worry about the infrastructure related to that. And so as we started to invest in this and look at this, we said, okay, well, where do we best place our bets? And as I started off with, community health and preventing toxicity in games is really forefront in my mind. We said, okay, well, how do we start to help some of our customers and some of our partners? And so we started the discussion with Dreamhaven, GGWP, and modl.ai. And so with that, I'm going to hand off the mic to Tim from GGWP, who's going to talk about some of that integration and what they offer as a partner solution. And then we'll have Ray come up and talk from Dreamhaven about how they were able to leverage and integrate this solution into their game. So I'll come back later. Feel free to stop me and ask any questions along the way. But that's my short little intro. I'm going to hand it off to Tim.
Hey everybody, thanks for coming out. I'm Tim O'Neill, VP of Sales at GGWP, and we are an AI-based platform to fight toxicity in games. So what is toxicity? On one hand, it's kind of standard gamer behavior if you think about it. It's trash talk, it's teasing, maybe some bullying, but obviously that goes a little bit darker into things like sexual harassment, racial things, identity hate, could be child grooming, things like that. And so we have products across a couple of different areas to where we can moderate various types of toxicity, and we can proactively monitor and manage and assess a bunch of different things that happen in games. Not least of which on one hand would be usernames. So when people create a username for a new kind of game, there's certain objectionable words or phrases that a developer might not want to have included in those usernames. So we can help out with that. Text chat is also our bread and butter. So we can keep eyes on things like objectionable language or link spam, self-harm. We use AI at its core to understand the nuance of language, but also the contextual relevance between players. So, for instance, a good example are the phrases, F you versus you're effing awesome, right? One of those is more negative. One of those is more complimentary. So we also take into consideration things like, if these users have the ability to connect socially with other people, are they doing that with people that they know or are friends with, or are they doing it with complete strangers? So if I'm playing against a stranger and they say to me, good game, loser, if they beat me or whatever, then some of that stuff can be deemed as more toxic than if a friend says, hey, good game, loser, with like a smiley face at the end, right? Some of those things mean different things. So we understand, we use AI to understand how those relationships affect gameplay. We do text chat. We also do player reports. So if there are ways for these users to not only connect with each other socially, but if there's some bullying or some kind of toxic event that occurs and the users have the ability to report another player for something like spam or hate speech, typically those player reports are just going to go into a black hole, right? We actually can use AI to auto-moderate or auto-triage most of that queue, up to like 98 or 99% of all of it. So making life a lot easier for the game teams to get through that. And we've been working very closely with a number of different partners. We just had a milestone announcement last week that mentioned that we're working with 25 different gaming companies now, not least of which is our good folks over at Dreamhaven that we've been working with very closely in conjunction with AccelByte. So yeah, on the Dreamhaven side, we've been working with these guys for quite some time, really excited about what they're building and bringing to market. Fortunate enough also to be working with them early enough to have a hand in even assisting their player support team in its initial structure and providing a lot of guidance and thoughtful feedback along the way. So yeah, great to see everybody. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll hand the mic off to Ray.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ray Yu, and I'm the head of publishing platform at Dreamhaven. For those of you who don't know Dreamhaven, we are a small startup publisher game developer in Irvine, California. We have 2 internal studios that are internal to Dreamhaven. We're also working with a lot of external partners and third-party studios as well. So we're a multi-game publisher, and we've been around 3-4 years now. And we have been really excited to work with AccelByte and GGWP. Myself personally, I've been in the industry for a couple of decades now, so it's always been in the game adjacent space. So all the enterprise technology, all the back-end solutions, all the stuff that you need to run the game as a live service since the early MMO days a long time ago. So working with AccelByte, it's been great, and we've been working with them for 4 years now, 3-4 years now. And we brought them in as the back-end platform for our multi-game solution. And the reason why we picked AccelByte was that it checked a lot of boxes for us. As we all know, no one platform does everything, right? So you look at all the platforms, well, our goal was to try to get one that is as comprehensive as possible, check as many boxes that we need as possible for future games. And so we really wanted a strong partner that can help us have that foundation when chose AccelByte as our partner. And then our strategy has always been to then augment AccelByte with specific other partners that excel in specific solutions. And so in moderation is one thing that we are looking into, and that's why we picked GGWP as that specific partner to augment AccelByte. And a little bit about Dreamhaven is that we all talked about how player health is important. 2 of our company values is respect the players and cultivate belongings. And so we really want to make sure that all the spaces that we create in our games are safe for the players. But at the same time, like I said, we're a small company. We're about over 100 people right now, and running the community for that size for multiple games. We want to see what technology solutions are out there to help us do as good as a job as possible. And for player support, the big thing really is to shorten the response time from a behavior happening to our reaction time. Whether that's a positive behavior that we want to award to a negative behavior that we want to make sure that is addressed. We want to make sure that the time to response is as short as possible. And without solutions like GGWP, we wouldn't be able to do any of that. like Tim said earlier, a lot of player reports goes into a black hole that gets processed very slowly. Using GGWP, we are able to service those reports much more quickly to the agents that we need to process. We also really like what Tim mentioned earlier, that we have a lot more holistic approach in terms of viewing the player's behavior. Not just that they said a bad word in chat, but we're also able to send them a lot of different signals about the player for the models to be trained on, to then model the player and then have a player reputation at the end. And using that player reputation, we have a lot of possibilities that we can do. We can maybe put the bad players in a different matchmaking pool, or we can reward the good players to mix them with all the new players to play together in matchmaking instead. So having this holistic view of a player is really important and crucial to our player support strategy. And then in terms of integrating with GGWP, Rob already set it up earlier really nicely that we're using Extend extensively for integrating different solutions to AccelByte. And there are multiple flavors of Extend that we're using. We're using it to create brand new service that doesn't exist in AccelByte today. We're using it to override specific portion of the code. For example, our chat moderation is one that we'll be overriding using GGWP's moderation to help moderate. And then we're also using custom webhook event handlers to send specific signals to GGWP in terms of when things happen on login or matchmaking or on bad behavior. We can send those signals in real time to GGWP. So using Extend is really flexible, and we're very excited about it because we see a lot more possibility in terms of what we can do to extend the platform without worrying that we have to run those services. That's the biggest thing for us, that we can actually roll it all into the CI/CD pipeline existing with the platform, manage as an environment together so that we can focus on writing the code and not running the platform. And so that's really a huge, huge win for us. So if you have any questions about how we're using AccelByte and GGWP, please feel free to come find me. I'm happy to chat more. Otherwise, I'll hand over to the next speaker.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. Really nice to see familiar faces and new faces here today. I promise that I will try and keep it brief. I'm not known for that, but I'll do my best. So I was told I should tell you a little bit about what modl.ai is and who we are. So I'd love to tell you about that. At modl.ai, we're building something that we call an AI engine. And the reason that we term it an AI engine is that we want to emphasize that a wide range of AI capabilities is something that you as a game developer, as a studio, can think about buying instead of necessarily building internally. And the same way that you use your game engine, use your physics engine, you have your audio engine, you have your backend infrastructure, there are certain parts of what AI can do for you, but you can buy externally as well. Now, AI has, especially in the last couple of years, gotten to take on many different meanings. It can mean many different things. For us specifically, what our AI engine does is that it drives player behavior inside of your game. It's virtual players. Imagine that you can source 10, 100, 1,000 virtual players, and they will show up in your game and they will do various things. So that's our question to the games industry. If you had that, what would you do with it? modl.ai itself, we've been around for about 5 years. We've been working on this. We are 40 people. You'll find us mostly in Copenhagen, out of Denmark, up north. But we also have some of the team here today. So if you're with modl.ai, could you please raise your hand? There you go. Those are the real experts. If you want to know anything about AI later today, talk to these people, and they can help you out. So to the question, why would you want to have an AI engine? Why would you want to have these virtual players for your game development process, for your game? You can start in many different places if you want to answer that question. But one of the things that we always think about is that 3 out of 4 studios are reporting increasing costs in game development. Across the industry, games are just getting more complex. We're getting bigger in various ways, and all of us are competing on having games that have higher quality, higher scale, get out faster, have more levels, almost regardless of what kind of game you're making. Complexity is just increasing for everyone. And what that really means is that you have more and more content that is coming out along one dimension or the other, and you have to make sure that that content works in the way that you thought, in the way that you wanted it to. You also have to make sure that there's somebody to experience it once you put it out. And especially if you're leveraging things like generative AI, if you're doing user-generated content, like imagine where you used to ship your game with maybe 40 levels. Well, now you might have, 1,000 levels coming in from users every week. You got to make sure that there's somebody to play with you if you have a multiplayer game with that much content in there. So those are the use cases that we try to address with our AI engine. Consistently across the industry, we get 3 different use cases that developers are asking for. They say, well, we'd like to be able to have these virtual players help us test our games. That'd be really useful. We don't have enough manpower. We don't have enough hands to test all the content we're putting out. We'd really like to understand the dynamics of our game better. So we'd like to know, are we getting the difficulty right? How do these different things work when they play out? And we don't have enough people on the team to play it all the time. And of course, if you have a multiplayer game, you'd like to make sure that somebody's around to play with you when your players actually show up so that they stick around after they've had that first game playing experience. And really, that's what we're trying to help the industry with our behavioral AI engine. All of these 3 use cases are things that we've addressed with studios out there. It's something that we're doing together with studios right now. And we can already see the impact that, with certain studios, even the most basic implementation of an automatic QA system might save your QA team 25% of the manual rote labor that we have to do. So imagine getting that time back, setting that free, and using that for other purposes in your development pipeline. In the same way, puzzle studios that we've worked with, when we have our bots play their games in order to help them balance them, well, we've talked to people who could work 16 times faster in terms of putting levels into their games and putting 50 puzzle levels into a matching game all in one day with one game designer. That's not the usual number that you hear when you talk to game developers out there that do puzzle games. And then finally, when we've worked with bots for the multiplayer experience, we've seen as much as 50% increase in D1 retention if you make sure that you have the right kind of thought meet and greet you when you're onboarding onto your game. So those are just like some of the very practical, very pragmatic ways that you can use behavioral AI to change your developer experience, to change your player experience, and just generally make both the development process less painful, less onerous for the team, make the investment that you're doing into your game less risky, and ultimately help your players have a better experience when they enter into your game. So that's what we're hoping to do, but you can't do that in a vacuum, right? In order to deliver this kind of technology to the industry, of course you need to have the AI components and the AI engine. That's to a large extent where we fit in. You also need to have a very deep understanding of how the actual game development pipeline works. Like if you're trying to take this into the games industry from a games non-native approach, you're going to fail, right? Because you need to understand the perspective of the QA specialist that's going to be using this. You need to understand the perspective of the game designer, of the estet team, of the developer who's actually going to be integrating it, and of course we'll be worrying about the maintenance. So all those different perspectives you have to take into the solution that you're building. That's something we've been trying to do at modl.ai. The final thing that you really need in order to leverage these kind of solutions is scaling infrastructure. Like all of this is great, but if you can only reap the benefits of automation at your own machine on your desktop, well, we're not really moving the needle on the state of the art of game development, are we? And that's why you need to have partners with scaling infrastructure that can help you build this up and enable you to run, not just like one build, but 10 builds or 100 builds with virtual players in it when you're QA testing your game, or really host models at scale if you're doing the multiplayer bots. So these are some of the things that we think about in modl.ai. That's what we're working to deliver to you folks. If you think that is interesting, please come and talk to all of us. We'd love to talk about the different kind of algorithms we use, how we actually integrate this into production, how we make it scale. Otherwise, hope you have a great night and looking forward to speaking more.